So as Feike described, we have a great conversation, and I want to be clear, the CEOs have been having conversations on the topic of mitigation, and they have been taking action on that. I want to be super clear. What we have done is done it in lieu of, and unfortunately at the expense of, adaptation. So the WEF, and appropriately so, commissioned a report that actually would do the course correction to bring the business community, to bring equal prominence to the business narrative, the government narrative, and the societal narrative of why this is important. And in order to do that, what's it going to take to get the business community to step up to the challenge, not to at the expense of mitigation, but rather get equal amount of time, attention, capital, and action on the issue of adaptation. The report specifically talks about how do we enhance this in terms of the business resiliency that businesses have to deal with. How do we actually turn a negative into a positive in terms of the upside potential? I'll come back to that point in a second. And third, how do we bring together collaborative examples where it has helped business, but also society, local communities? And that's usually important. I want to come back to that point. So the report itself did a study of 100 companies, and to Feike's point, this issue is here now. Of the 100 companies, 70 of them already have gone through catalytic issues that have actually impacted, because of the physical issues, the physical risk issues, an event happened that has never happened before, and it is happening more and more times. And the reality is, in one given year, it's 10% of the revenue. Go to the other side of the equation. If, in fact, these organizations did the things we're asking them to do in terms of the innovative techniques, leveraging technologies, which we'll talk about in a second, there is upside potential. That upside potential comes in the form of revenue, brand, stakeholder capitalism coming through, and the avoidance of cost, therefore the avoidance of investment. That investment can go to other places to actually achieve the SDGs. Let's bring it to life with reality, because Feike and I are talking about abstracts. I was in India last month. Met with a company that manages a port city. The CEO of that particular port city came into this 5 years ago, and the historical trend was we had 5 days of rain annually. Today, they're having 65 days of rain and 5 flooding events each and every year that they never had before. This particular company, they themselves invested the capital to bring it to life and adopt. And they did not walk away from that port city. This is one important thing. Two messages to leave this group as you think about this. One, whatever we do on adaptation, we cannot reduce the mitigation efforts that Feike talked about. Point number one. Point number two, adaptation does not mean walking away from a city that may have potential flooding or drought risk. It means working with the city, working with the government to make sure that we stay for societal benefit, for societal reasons, and we have the economic development happening. And that's where capital has to come in the big time way. So the CEOs in that deficit, this is now the pivot. The report was helping accelerate that pivot, and that's what we're looking to see over the next year or two.